All right, we are back joined by our political team of Souder and Goldner and Mark Souder. Bill Clinton, the big story at the Democratic National Convention last night. Let's hear a clip from his speech.
In Tampa, the Republican argument against the president re-election was actually pretty simple, pretty snappy. It went something like this. We left him a total mess. He hadn't cleaned it up fast enough, so fire him and put us back in.
I've heard a lot of people say that he made the Obama administration's best argument, better than the Obama administration has done it himself. You agree with that? And what was his job last night?
Well, I mean, Bill Clinton still has it. There's no question about that. The man is an amazing communicator, and that was his job, was to go and express, articulate the message, and I think he did it masterfully. And
do you think that somebody who was on the fence might have been potentially swayed by what Bill Clinton said last night?
Yeah, and I think for a couple of reasons. One is just the arguments that he laid out, and he did it in a very clear, good way, which is how he communicates. But the other thing I think, too, is that, he was president during the best economy we've had in the last 30 or 40 years, and so when he says it, it maybe resonates with people more than it might if, things had been bad when he was president.
All right, Mark, weigh in.
Well, those of us who don't think he was the best president the last 30 or 40 years weren't as impressed. He's a charmer. He's charismatic. I've met him multiple times, and I'm just glad we're not running against him. But I didn't think his speech really gelled completely well. The first part was great red meat, had everybody rocking and rolling into place and was exciting. Then he went off in this long extended, after 2 days of hate and bile, we compromise, we're going to work together, and then went into a classic Clinton deep detail on multiple issues, some facts, some made up, some potential facts, and then finished strong again. So it was an odd mixture that I don't really think reached independence, other than potentially that compromise pitch if he tries to do that again tonight through President Obama. If they had that message all week, it would have worked, but he had a mixed message.
So what is it that you think President Obama needs to do tonight to really wow the Democrats and those who are still at this point undecided? Mark, start with you.
To get that he knows how to whip up the base, and Bill Clinton knows how to whip up the base. The question is, are they going to try to push turnout, or are they going to try to reach independence? President Obama, like President Clinton, but in my personal case, he reached out to me so many times in the first 3 to 6 months, even offering to ride on Air Force One with him and duck the media getting off, or I could ride back and the media would never know I was with him, or just to go on the plane and talk to him. They wanted to talk to me about the Notre Dame abortion speech. I didn't want to deal with him because I felt he was a left-winger and I was going to be used. But if they do that approach and talk about Ray LaHood being his cabinet and a number of things, that's the best way to reach independence. The problem is you can't do both, and they have to decide tonight.
Karen, what do you think?
Well, I think that the president's job is to appeal to undecided voters. I certainly agree with that. And I think that he can do it very well because, frankly, he is a very moderate person in terms of temperament. I mean, I think that there's been a lot of criticism of him for not being strong enough with the House Republicans, et cetera. And so, I think that if Obama is Obama, then that's going to come across and people are going to understand that.
Now we have about 45 seconds left. I want to show you a poll. Really shows that Mitt Romney's speech didn't do a whole lot for him if you were looking for a bounce after last week's Republican National Convention. Let's talk about this. Does it mean anything? You've both seen a lot of politics. Does the bounce long term mean anything? Does it matter whether Romney gets a bounce or whether Obama gets a bounce out of that?
Well, you'd rather be ahead than behind. And you'd rather have a bounce than not. I think that the way these conventions were scheduled, you're going to have the Democrats sort of stand on top of the Republicans, and that was probably not a random act on the part of the Democrats in scheduling. But you expect to have a bigger bounce, and it doesn't necessarily carry you through. It didn't carry John Kerry against Bush in the end. But you want to have it, because if you don't, you're almost down.
What do you think? 10 seconds.
Romney showed he could keep it close. I wish he'd have been 2 to 3 ahead. If Obama gets 4 ahead after this week, it's pretty late, and that wouldn't be a good sign.
All right, we're going to look forward to talking to you both tonight at 11 o'clock after we hear from the president. So we'll see what you have to say then. Make sure you tune in tonight at 6:30. Scott Pelley is going to be interviewing First Lady Michelle Obama from Charlotte, so you want to see that too.
Going to be interesting. And Jonathan has the forecast right after this.